Number 20. Maybe a weird game to start off with, but the reason why this game is on here is because of my enjoyment with it. Sure, maybe it gets a bit repetitive, always only eliminating the enemies to win the objective, but it's the perfect game for a throwback. This game reminds me of tank games I used to play on the internet, like Flash games, where one of my friends I would invite over to my home and we would control the keyboard with one of us being WASD and the other one being with the arrow keys. It's a throwback for me, and it's a perfect game to relax and take some time off without having to think about the game itself. It's just a brain dead game where you shoot and try to kill your enemy. Also really good for rendering videos and you're trying to play a game that's not too heavy for your PC while your PC is being fried by all the rest you're trying to do on it. The only weird aspect of the game I find is that around 80% of the active player base seems to be Germans. Maybe a famous YouTuber plays the game, or they're trying to dominate something with tanks that they couldn't do 80 years ago. Oh well, besides that, I thought Shellshock Live is a good way to start off my list. Woohoo Island, the home to many of us our favorite island. Probably one of the best Wii games I've ever played, Wii Sports Resort at the top. It was so simple, yet I spent days on this game trying to find that 80th information point in Island Flyover, or the hours I spent doing Swordsplay Showdown trying to make it to stage 20 and beating the game. I remember waking up on days at 7 AM in the weekend when I was 10 years old with my sister trying to get the best scores on wakeboarding, or feeling competitive and doing speed slides trying to kick each other's ass at the game. It's a really great throwback, and honestly, I actually think it's my favorite Wii game ever. It was simple, but that's what I enjoyed about it so much. Even the game, when you start it up for the first time, you open up to a skydiving section. You start up making an formation, trying to cling up with as many people as possible, and having an awesome camera shot at the end. And that's even before the game starts with the main menu. And oh boy, that main menu theme. Dear lord, that brings back memories. Like, there's so many game modes in this game which are just nostalgic, and you just look at them and you're like, oh god, this feels like 2010, 2009 all over again. Such as archery, frisbee, basketball, and even cycling that you can do with multiple people. It really makes for an awesome Wii game and a lot of childhood memories, and that's why I put it at number 19, Wii Sports Resort. Number 18, God of War, number 8. After ruining the mythology he partakes in, Kratos goes to the land of Norse mythology. He sets down in life, gets a wife, a son, his wife dies, his son shoots him, betrays him. Atreus, aka the son, doesn't listen to his advice very well, and his only proper way for Kratos to speak to Atreus is boy. Besides that, God of War 8, or the newest God of War for the PS4, makes my top 20 for a couple of reasons. First of all, the combat system is a lot more Dark Souls type compared to the previous God of War games. There's a lot more parrying and dodging involved compared to the last time, and combo attacks are a lot less overpowered than they used to be. The combat system is one I really like and fits perfectly for the tone of this game, now that he has a son, and I would say he's less violent, but you know, he's not though. What really puts this game in my top 20 is two reasons. The way the music fits in perfectly for every scenario, from when Kratos needs to retrieve his blades of Athena on his boat ride, or how music changes when certain characters come into the screen, such as Freya or Sindri and Brock. They all bring their own music, not giving them a theme or something, but just making it feel like a more relaxing part rather than an intensive part that always feels like you're kind of playing Doom, but a mythology version, but less brutal. The other reason I praise this game is because of the fact they keep this entire game in one camera perspective. It gives more of an atmosphere that you're actually included in the story because you follow it in there the entire time. This game is the best of all God of War games in my opinion, and I put it at number 18 for good reasoning. On to number 17. Out of all the Ratchet & Clank games, this is definitely one of my favorites because it stands out in different ways compared to the other Ratchet & Clank games. For once, Ratchet & Clank are actually separated from one another in the entire game. You really get to see what Clank can do on his own, being a highly developed robot he is, with a touch of James Bond style in his mission to retrieve a highly important artifact. The artifact was stolen from a museum, and because of Ratchet being under mind control, but you don't know until you've played the game, and it shows evidence that Ratchet stole it, so he was taken to prison. That's where Ratchet's part of the story takes place. I like this difference because it's way different from the main thing. It's not Ratchet in the spotlight and Clank just helping. This way it's the other way around. This makes for an interesting story. For once thinking Ratchet is a bad person and not the main character, because he does his own thing in prison. The thing is, when he's in prison, there's a lot of enemies he has because, well, being a hero, he has put a lot of people in prison, and there's a lot of people who want to, let's just say, pay him back with compound interest. So yeah, he's gonna have a fun time in there. The game splits into two perspectives, where you can play as Clank trying to find out why Ratchet stole it, and trying to find out where this artifact was brought to retrieve it back. While on the other hand, you play as Ratchet sometimes, hoping you won't get shivved in prison by the other members there, and you will fight to the death with a wave gladiator system of waves of enemies coming by. It's an interesting idea to give Ratchet more of a gladiator style with a wave-based survival in multiple areas. It's in multiple areas located, such as in the training room, the dining room, and even in the shower. For me, this game is different than any other Ratchet and Clank game I've played in my life. There's also a couple of missions where you play as the great Captain Qwark, who basically runs after Clank's missions, claiming all the glory for himself. It fits pretty well for Qwark's style of wanting to be the hero and everything, even though he had taken up glory from other people. There's only one game I can remember playing as a Ratchet and Clank game that involved playing such a big portion of as Clank alone, and that was A Crack in Time. This game brings back a lot of memories and, well, a lot of weird moments, to be honest. Anyways, this game deserves, in my opinion, number 17 on the list.